Wait a minute. What are you planning to do? My husband smirked as he pushed my wheelchair toward the cliff and kicked it forcefully into the sea. Shocked, I raised my voice. What are you doing? Ah, there goes your wheelchair, huh? But, you were the one who. Listen, crawl back if you have to. You still have housework waiting for you. How could you? With both of my legs broken, the wheelchair was my lifeline. Now that it's gone, I can't even move. What am I supposed to do now? I can't even get to the road. There are no buses running around here. It'll be dark soon. Even if I crawl, I won't get far. What should I do? This is impossible. Just when I felt my spirit about to break, an unexpected event gave me a glimmer of hope. My name is Janet Anderson, 29 years old. After graduating from college, I once worked for a major corporation but resigned after getting married. Since then, I've been living an ordinary life as a housewife. It's been 2 years since I married Matt. I quit my job because of a remark he made. Once we're married, I'd like you to quit your job and take care of the housework. Wait, are you saying you want me to be a stay-at-home wife? Yeah. I can handle the income. Besides, I want to build a home where dinner is ready when I come back. But I can keep working and still do that much. No, you might lose focus because of the job, right? Just doing housework might be easier for you mentally. Well, that's true. Matt works for a company run by his father, Dan. He's young and already in a position to become the next president. He earns twice as much as I do, and that will only increase in the future. Even if we have children, his income will be enough. Maybe there's no need for me to keep working. I didn't hate my job, but it wasn't a career I had to pursue. So, I wanted to build the ideal home he envisioned. I agreed to his request to quit my job. I decided to become a full-time housewife, retire after marriage. Marrying the person I love. Living a relaxed married life doing housework. Could I be any luckier? That's how I felt as we registered our marriage and became husband and wife. But at some point, this newlywed life began to feel torturous. It all started with a trivial thing. About 3 months after we got married, I wasn't feeling well one day and served pre-purchased frozen meals for dinner. Seeing this, my husband immediately started yelling at me. Hey! What is this? What do you mean? This dinner. You didn't make this, did you? No. I wasn't feeling great today, so I went with frozen side dishes. Right after I explained, my husband threw the dishes into the trash can. I panicked, unable to find the words. What? What did you just do? Threw away the dinner side dishes. And the plates too. This must be a joke, right? Matt was breathing heavily, and he seemed a bit different. I had a hard time figuring out what to say. Matt. Why would you do something like this? Huh? It's because a housewife like you relies on frozen meals that are already prepared. Are you trying to make fun of me, or what? I didn't mean to. I'm sorry it ended up being ready-made. But I was feeling sick and couldn't cook anything elaborate. Shut up. Do you think you prepared dinner like this? All you did was line up ready-made side dishes. Don't act like you've accomplished something. I'm sorry. Trembling in immense fear, I had never seen him so furious. Did I do something wrong? Sure, one of the side dishes was pre-made, but I had cooked rice, made soup, and even served some prepared sides. Why would he get so angry over just one frozen dish? I had. For what? To get ready to go out. We're going back to my parents' home, so get ready. Your parents' place. Wait, I haven't heard anything about this. Shut up. You just do as I say. Instead of making lousy meals, hurry up and get ready. All right. Once it's come to this, arguing back would only fuel his anger. I quickly took off my apron and started getting ready. I managed to prepare in just 20 minutes. But my husband's mood had worsened from before. All the way to his parents' house by car, he kept grumbling. Several hours later, when we arrived at his parents' house, they greeted us kindly. At home, Matt acts like a good son and husband, so I feel more at ease. While sipping coffee, his mother, Susan, made, and having light conversations, Dan turned to me. Janet, are you having any trouble with our son? I just wondered if he's taken you on any trips. We love the sea and the mountains and always go driving every few months. Oh, is that so? I'm sure your wife must be thrilled. Well, I hope so. Lately, she's been sleeping in the passenger seat most of the time. Which is a bit lonely. Hee hee. Your wife is busy every day, isn't she? As we were having this conversation, I noticed my husband glaring at me sharply, as if warning me not to say anything unnecessary. I had no intention of exposing my husband's true nature to his parents. The verbal abuse and heartless acts I endure are known only to me. Without solid evidence, I couldn't possibly tell his parents. Even if they believed me, my husband would deny it. If his parents intervened, I would face terrible retaliation afterwards. The best strategy was to maintain the status quo. I just had to keep playing the good wife in front of his parents, as instructed. Repeating this to myself, I somehow managed to get through each day. A week later, tragedy struck. On the way back from shopping for dinner ingredients at the supermarket, I was hit by a car that ran a red light, breaking both my legs severely. I was taken to the hospital, and although they must have contacted my husband, he never came to visit. Since he didn't show up even once until my discharge, I had to buy all necessary items at the hospital shop. Moving in a wheelchair, especially because I had to operate it myself, was more physically draining than it looked. The hospital was large, and getting to the shop was a struggle. On the day of my discharge, there was no word from my husband, and I had to go home alone. When I arrived, he was already drinking beer with snacks, even though it was still midday. Finally back, huh? His mocking, slightly drunk demeanor infuriated me, and I couldn't help but yell. Hey, isn't this too much? I was in an accident. Yeah, so what? You didn't die, right? I heard that much, and that's why I didn't bother visiting the hospital. Normally, if a family member has an accident, you'd rush to be with them. Do you have any idea how I felt these past 3 weeks? So what? Just so you know, I had to do all the housework by myself for 3 weeks because there was no maid. Maid. My husband clearly said that to me, not wife, but maid. Tears of anger and sadness blurred my vision. I headed to the bedroom and, because I cried myself to sleep last night, I woke up with a splitting headache. Lying in bed, unwilling to do anything, the bedroom door opened, and my husband spoke. How about we go for a drive to clear your head? A drive? You remember what I talked about with my dad, right? Going for regular drives and such. Oh, yeah. But why all of a sudden? No, I thought you must be tired from the hospital stay. It's just for some fresh air. I never thought my husband would suggest something like that. I was so shocked that I couldn't come up with the right response. It honestly made me feel great that he understood my feelings. Yeah, let's go. Then wait for me and get ready. Okay. I had gotten used to operating the wheelchair. But dressing was still a struggle since I couldn't move my legs. Separates were too difficult to manage, so I chose a dress that I could wear in one piece. My husband pushed the wheelchair from our house to the car. Had he reconsidered his thoughts after I yelled at him yesterday? His casual kindness warmed my heart. Maybe Matt had reconsidered. Could it be that our marriage was heading in a good direction? Although the accident was hard, if I could live happily with Matt from now on. It's useless to always think negatively. I decided to fully enjoy the drive with my husband. A few hours later. We've arrived. My husband parked the car and took the wheelchair out of the trunk. We had arrived at a high cliff along the coast. A vast ocean spread out before us. Wow! It's so beautiful. Right? I got to know about this place from my dad. This is amazing, thank you, Matt. After expressing my gratitude again, my husband smiled gently. But the next moment, he grabbed the wheelchair roughly and started heading towards the cliff. Unable to move, I screamed from the passenger seat. Wait a minute. What are you planning to do? My husband smirked as he pushed the wheelchair to the cliff and kicked it forcefully towards the sea. Shocked, I raised my voice. What are you doing? Ah, there goes your wheelchair, huh? But, you were the one who. Too bad, right? Your legs are gone now. That's terrible. Why would you do such a thing? As I cried out, my husband looked annoyed and dismissively said, You really thought I brought you here out of the goodness of my heart? What do you mean? You messed up because you weren't paying attention and avoided chores for 3 weeks. It's totally fair that you get punished, don't you think? I wasn't paying attention. It was the other driver who ran the red light. And I didn't exactly skip on the housework. Shut up. Don't talk back so much. Listen, crawl back if you have to. You still have housework waiting for you. How could you? My husband dragged me out of the car and left me there. Then he got into the driver's seat and started the engine. Please, Matt. Wait. No matter how much I screamed, my husband just smirked and looked at me. My pleas were in vain, and he drove back the way we came. With both legs broken. The wheelchair was my lifeline. Now that it's gone, I can't even move. What am I supposed to do now? I can't even reach the road. There are no buses running around here. It'll be dark soon. Even if I crawl, I won't get far. What should I do? This is impossible. Tears streamed down my face, and I bit my lip hard, tasting a hint of blood. My miserable situation and my husband's heartless words fueled my anger. This is ridiculous. How much more can someone belittle me? At this rate, Just when I felt like breaking down, a car stopped right in front of me. Janet? Is that you, Janet? A man hurried towards me, surprised. It was none other than Dan. Dan. Why are you here? That should be my line. What are you doing here, Janet? And your legs. Ah. I broke my bones in an accident. Matt was here just before. Did he leave you here alone? I knew I shouldn't tell the truth. But feeling desperate, I unconsciously nodded. Following behind, Dan and Susan came rushing over with a blanket. She draped it over my shoulders and asked urgently, "Janet, are you okay?" "Susan. We were visiting relatives nearby. This is our favorite spot by the sea. We always stop here on our way back. Then we happened to see you." "Is that so?" The fact that my husband had heard about this place from his parents had ironically worked out. I never imagined they would find me here. "What happened? Tell us everything." Tears spilled over as Dan gazed at me directly. I decided to tell everything about the past 2 years. The truth is, my in-laws listened silently until I finished. Midway through, Susan cried and hugged me tightly. "I'm so sorry. Our son has put you through so much. Please don't apologize, Susan. I'm also to blame." "There's no way you are to blame. You are our precious daughter-in-law. We can't let this go on." "Susan. Thank you." Afterward, my in-laws put me in the car and we headed to a nearby soba restaurant. After eating, the 3 of us returned home. Dan led the way and rang the intercom. Not expecting me to return so soon, my husband casually opened the door. With a yes. Seeing us, his eyes widened in shock. "What? Why?" Hearing his whisper, Dan shouted angrily, "What have you done to our precious daughter-in-law?" "Precious daughter-in-law? Am I not your precious son?" "What? Don't talk nonsense. You're no longer a son or anything else to me. A person who doesn't treat others right isn't fit to follow in my footsteps." "Hey. You're joking, right? Are you serious? You're fired. Disowned. Don't ever show your face to us again." "No way." Dan gently told me, "Gather your things." Susan helped me pack my suitcase. And we left the house. As we got into the car, my husband, with a tear-streaked face, rushed towards us, pleading, "Forgive me." But it was too late for forgiveness. Perhaps there was never any love between us to begin with. I realized that. Glaring at my husband, I coldly said, "Enough. How could I easily forgive you after what you've done? I can no longer trust or continue to love you. Never interfere in my life again." At those words, my husband collapsed powerlessly. We drove to my in-laws' home, where I decided to stay until my legs fully healed. 3 months later, I was able to move as before and started working at Dan's company. Naturally, I divorced my husband. Having been fired, he is now struggling to find re-employment and is getting by with day jobs. Following Dan's advice, we're now seeking payment from Matt through a lawyer. My in-laws will testify about being abandoned. So it's only a matter of time before he faces consequences. Even though I picked the wrong man to marry, it introduced me to some wonderful in-laws. I plan to cherish this relationship and repay their kindness by working at Dan's company.